even moderate level builders, they're always looking for the cheapest subs because
Yeah.
their margins are so small. They're really based on volume. And that's where you run into some of the problems. So a lot of people will say, but it's brand new and there's a warranty. I don't want to spend $500 in a home inspection. I'll tell you that's your insurance policy to make sure you're getting a good home, to make sure they slow those subs down, and to make sure that you know what you are buying. And like I've said multiple times, I'm your agent. I'm not getting on the roof or in the attic or other places where Eric is going to be. Hey, Katrina Madewell here. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk, and today's topic is all going to be about new homes, new rules, how the Florida 2026 building code impacts inspections and insurance. Today's guest is going to be Eric George. He's with Bay Life Home Inspections. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Thank you for having me, Katrina.
So glad you're here. Now, if I'm buying a brand new home, it's built in 2026. One of the questions we get all the time, and this is going to be really important to talk about, is people will say, do I need a home inspection? And the new building codes, how can they help people save on insurance? Well, you're not an insurance person. We'll chat about some of the things that we know impact the insurance. So
Sure.
let's answer the $1,000,000 question. I'm buying a brand new home, Eric. Why the heck do I need a home inspection?
On a brand new home, you definitely need to get a home inspection. It's called a new construction inspection, and we do them in phases. So all throughout, there's many contractors that are building this home, and a lot of times they're trying to rush to finish up their job so they could get paid as quick as possible and maximize their profit. So it's good to have a third party come in and inspect it and make sure that things are just up to code.
Some of the more high-end builders, the newer entry level, even moderate level builders, they're always looking for the cheapest subs because
Yeah.
their margins are so small. They're really based on volume. And that's where you run into some of the problems. So a lot of people will say, but it's brand new and there's a warranty. I don't want to spend $500 in a home inspection. I'll tell you that's your insurance policy to make sure you're getting a good home, to make sure they slow those subs down, and to make sure that you know what you are buying. And like I've said multiple times, I'm your agent. I'm not getting on the roof or in the attic or other places where Eric is going to be.
Yeah,
Right.
that's where I go. So first thing, warranties are there for a reason because these things do happen. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's always perfect. And yeah, an insurance policy is a great way to put it. I like to also say it's an assurance policy because you know exactly what you're getting at the present time.
Well, and the key is like if you have an agent like me and I'm helping you, I'm representing you on new construction, which a lot of people think they also don't need an agent for new construction. But I'll tell you, negotiated a deal yesterday. I got double the amount of closing costs. I got double the amount of money they can get at the design center. So if you think you're saving money by going directly to the builder's rep without an agent, you're totally misinformed, but we'll save that for another show. So what's changed in Florida's 2026 building code? Let's talk about some of the updates. Why? Let's start off with why does Florida change the building codes regularly? That's probably a great place to start, and I'm sure we can both chime in on that one.
Yeah, no, that's the best place to start. So Florida has a board that meets every 3 years to update the building code because of our ever-changing climate and environment. Actually in the country, there's only two states that have a board that's ran totally by the state. It's Florida and California. Those are the only two states. Everywhere else, it changes, within the municipalities. But
Well,
it's
with our storms and stuff, and like the last couple years, and I mean, even what was it? 405, we had back-to-back storms. I think it's
yeah,
it's better that the hurricane building codes change, and they should. Like for all the
absolutely.
newer ones, they should get better and better, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I live in Clearwater and we just got hit by the biggest storm that we've had in Clearwater on record, you know?
Yeah, and the fact is the insurance companies, they're learning lessons, they're learning things
Yes.
because they're seeing claims, right?
Yes.
And so they
They have
send
to.
their representatives back to these boards that you're talking about to suggest changes so that they can improve the Florida building code to make people safer, to make homes stronger, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have data to back it up, and
Right.
that's why it's very valid.
Right. Some of the things we're seeing is stronger roofing systems. Can you elaborate on that? Because this is a big one, right? They want to make sure this roof doesn't rip right off in a storm. So talk about that. What are some of the things you're doing to make the roof system stronger? What does that look like from a construction standpoint? And what are you looking for as the inspector when you go?
Yeah, so a lot of things they're updating on there. They're really just tightening and making stricter the room for error on things. For example, the nails that connect your deck, your roof to the trusses that actually hold it, your shingles down onto the roof frame. They have to be spaced 6 inches on center now with an 8D or 6D nail, which are really strong nails. Whereas just 10 years ago, there was approved staples. I mean, there was different nails and they were able to be spaced 12 inches in the field. So they're really
Stronger nails, more of them.
yes, and tightening the room for air because some of the verbiage in the past has been very loose. So there's a little more room for air.
And would you say the nail spacing and the type of materials they're using, has that improved the better wind resistance, or is there other things you're doing to also improve the wind resistance?
Yeah, well, they definitely help the wind resistance, but there's all sorts of things that actually go into the structure beyond the roof. One thing that's changing in 2026 is the building has to be rated for up to 160-mile-per-hour winds. So they're mandating impact resistant windows now in areas that they weren't before.
So what do you mean by that? Because I know before you didn't have to have the impact resistant windows, which would add a lot of cost for builders and subsequently for buyers. You could have just the double pane insulated windows and then do the hurricane shutters. Are you saying they've completely done away with that?
On new construction, yes. And it's important to note that on older homes, they always honor the old building codes. But one thing that is changing is they have language in there that I can't remember if it's 10 or 30%, but if you're changing out your systems in your house and you're changing, I think it's 10%, you're going to have to update the whole system. So if you're changing out more than 10% of your windows, you're going to have to change them all out to be impact rated to meet the new.
And that's going to be required on every single home. You can no longer.
Yeah. So if you're doing that and you're pulling a permit to modify it, then the code will have to go into effect.
But what about for the builders? Do you know, are they able to still put in the other windows?
No, with the 2026 building code that is coming up, they should have to put in impact rated windows and windborne debris regions. Not everywhere.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that goes back to where they're shifting the lines. Because if you look at a windborne region map, there's little lines that say what the impact's typically going to be in that region. They're moving those up. So basically everything is going up a couple notches.
So closer to our coastal areas, they're going to require all those impact resistant windows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing.
So roughly, where is the map? Can you give us a general idea, where it was? Just pick one area where it was and where it's modifying.
Well, so the regions, the best way I could explain it is the shape of Florida, it's a peninsula. So the lines sort of follow that. So I think in Clearwater where I was, the wind region was about 140. Or no, I'm sorry, it was 1 to 150, and now it's gone up to where, like my house, for example, I'm at 140, and a lot of the building codes are going up to 160. So in those windborne debris regions, like on the coastline, it's not quite the HVAC zone, but some places that weren't windborne debris are now.
So they're requiring better strapping, more strapping,
Yes.
the trusses to the roof
Yeah.
system. Got it. That makes sense. So what about some of the improved water and moisture protection? What were some of the changes that were made to that?
Yeah, so like I said, with the openings, that's one thing. They need those secure. A lot of it has to do with the roofing system. The secondary water resistance is a big one.
Is that the moisture barrier underlay they put on the whole roof?
Yeah. So the SWR is the secondary water barrier.
Okay.
And what they use now is the peel and stick. So it basically really helps seal that wind envelope if the shingles were to go off in a storm.
That stuff's so water resistant. It would
Yes.
protect water from getting in without the shingle. So it's
Yes.
good. It's
Yeah.
a good.
So now they need it on the entire roof.
They've cleaned up
2026.
the statute to state that.
Yes, they're
Okay.
changing it so that it says that because it wasn't quite so clear. So before it said it had to be in the valleys and ridges and seams on the edges, but that left some verbiage in there for people to put the felt underlayment. So now they're cleaning it up to where it has to be the peel and stick.
On the entire roof system.
Yes.
That's good. That's
It
really
is
good.
good. I like that.
When I replaced a roof, I forget how many years ago that was now maybe 10 or 15 years ago when I had to pay for it. That's what I had them do. It was well before the codes. But I had them put it on the whole roof.
Yeah, I had my house re-roofed in 2023, and the company that I had actually told me that was coming up, and they said that they're doing that with it. So I was like, please do.
If you
Well, it's
study anything with construction and you understand how that works, you'll know why it's a good choice.
Yeah.
It's going to cost more to redo the roof, and
Absolutely.
roofing materials have went through the roof. They've had at least 5 price changes since COVID, at least, maybe more.
Yeah, absolutely. and you could get credits for them
Yeah,
on
you'll
your
get credits on
insurance.
your insurance. So the
Yeah.
newer, I tell the buyers, the newer the home, the cheaper the insurance. That is
Yeah.
very accurate.
Absolutely.
So what about some of the enhanced energy efficiency? Are you aware of any of the changes for that?
Yeah, they're excuse me, they're incorporating more of the they're shifting to the Sear 2 rating, which impacts your HVAC, water heater. Most of your electronic appliances have a Sear rating.
Requiring those to be more energy efficient. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Which in turn, the way that they make them energy efficient as a byproduct should make them last longer too. It's not necessarily apples to apples, but it's going to enhance your energy efficiency as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
What about some of the other things related to like electrical and some of the safety standards? Do you know what was changed with that?
Yeah. So one of the things that I saw that I thought was interesting on the electrical, well, I guess two things. One, the aluminum strand, that's always a debated topic amongst home inspectors. Aluminum strand, multi-strand for appliances over 240 volts is definitely allowed. And also those are going to have to be GCFI protected now as well.
GFCI. So let's talk about the GFCIs and what those are. So basically, I don't know when that came into play, but the building code started requiring those to be in the wet areas of your home. So kitchens, bathrooms, and that kind of stuff. And it would basically make the breaker trip if there was any water in those areas. Right?
Yeah. So it first was introduced. I mean, it started becoming more popular in 2003 when they first started unifying the building code. And then I believe around 2010 is when they had it in all the wet areas. And one thing that's changing in 2026, so obviously you always see them in the kitchen. If outlet is within 6 feet of a sink, there's going to be one there. But they're updating it to where anywhere in a kitchen or anywhere in a wet area will have to be GFCI, GCFI
Yeah.
protected.
I think that's good.
It is good.
Ground fault circuit something.
Ground fault circuit interrupter.
Yeah, there
I
you
can
go.
say it, but I
Yeah.
always get the letters wrong.
That's okay. That's fair.
Yeah. And arc fault circuit interrupters as well.
Yeah, that's like basically if you're putting a nail in the wall.
Yes,
Right, it
it will
keeps
arc out. Yeah, it should trip the breaker.
Yeah, if you hit a wire,
Yep.
unbeknownst to you.
Keeps it from catching on fire.
Yeah.
You getting shocked if you're holding the nail.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
So the cool thing about this and what I want you to take away from this segment is Florida homes being built in 2026, they really, in my opinion, they're going to become some of the most insurable homes that we've ever seen here in Florida,
Yeah.
which is good for homeowners to keep those insurance costs low because this has been definitely a challenge for Florida homeowners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the insurance companies are helping build the code too. I mean, the board is a whole committee made up of a whole bunch of people. And the insurance writers representatives have their say in it too, which I think is great because they have the data to prove it. I mean, they're writing the claims and they want to minimize that.
Going back to we're going to talk about the 4-point inspections in a minute, but just going back to new construction, what I want to, even though you're getting a builder's warranty, I want you to understand that they are outsourcing this warranty. Like you're not getting it through the builder. They're outsourcing it to a different company. Sort of like if you were to buy a general warranty on an existing home, the only difference is this is meant for like building defects and new construction. So it's a little different.
Yeah. And like you said, with the subs on the smaller companies, unfortunately, it's just going to take so much time to chase them down. I mean, I've seen that and I've heard about it.
It doesn't mean defect-free construction. So that's.
Yeah. Like I said, the warranty is there because things do happen. So it's just saying if you notice something later on, we're going to have to chase the people down and try to fix it.
So some of the things that, well, we'll talk about the 4-point inspection, what that actually means, what you guys are evaluating, and then we're going to talk about some of the common things that we see that are actually missed in new construction, which is a big deal. So your 4 points, let's talk about that. The 4 things you're looking for is the roof, electrical, HVAC, and plumbing. So chat about those. Like what are some of the things you're looking for when you go to do these inspections? Because if you're in a older home, your insurance company may require this. So I want you to understand what an inspector like Eric is going to be looking for when you come out. Yeah.
So some insurance companies request it even as little as 20 years old. So if your home is 20 years old or older and you're looking at a home.
We're asked for it on all of them, on every home, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, the thing is a lot of those parts to just really generalize it, a lot of those systems are usually the lifespan is about 20 years. So if a roof is less than 20 years old or a water heater, well, water heater is usually 12 years. But HVAC, for example, if it's new in the house and it's 20 years old, then they're going to request it.
Yeah.
So
So when you're looking at a 4-point inspection, you're looking at the roof. What are some of the things you're looking at that you're putting on the 4-point inspection?
for a 4-point inspection, I'm looking at the quality of the roof. I check all the angles, see if there's any defects up there, if shingles are moving or whatnot.
Missing, torn, broken,
Yeah,
cracked,
missing
any of that?
torn penetrations, all, all your vent pipes that go up. I'm going to make sure that the gaskets are closed up on there, and I document all that and submit it for you.
Are you documenting granular loss too? Like how much granular is left on the shingles or no?
So I don't do a full. So if you want to get a roof inspection, roofers do
It's
that.
different. Yeah.
Right? The insurance doesn't actually call for that much. And so I don't always put that much detail on
Got
there.
it.
I mean, I do a general walk of it and I get the lifespan, I could get the lifespan on it, and it's good enough for the insurance company. If the insurance will cover it, that's what I'm trying to get from my people.
If it's brand new, all the stuff we're talking about here is going to be up to code, so you don't have to worry about that. So
Yeah.
this particular part is really
Yeah.
for general homeowners that already have an existing home that's not brand new.
Yeah.
So on the electrical, what's your thoughts on that? Like what are some things you're looking at on the electrical on older homes?
Yeah, so for the 4-point on older homes, on the electrical, I'm looking at the actual panel itself, seeing what the manufacturer is, making sure that the wiring's proper in there, right gauging. A big one is that it's grounded and bonded properly. You'd be surprised at how many of those just aren't, or, being older, maybe something came loose or something.
What does that mean and why does that matter?
So the grounding is in case of, let's say a lightning strike, in case of a lightning strike, a surge of electricity, it's going to travel the path of least resistance to the earth. The ground is just a big fat wire that goes straight into the earth. So if electricity travels and surges through your service panel, it will go through there, through the bonding, which is another word. It's bonded, so it grounds out to the earth.
Got it.
So it's a safety protection.
And any other things on electrical? I know if it's really old, you're looking at the panels for some of those faulty panels and things like that. Double tap breakers with
Yeah. On a 4.2, moving into the house, I'll look for ground fault GCFIs. I'll look for GCFIs.
yes,
And
yeah.
GCFIs,
That's okay.
GFCI.
You need to go for it's good. We don't see
Yeah,
the letter good.
yeah. I know what the ground faults are.
Yeah, there you go.
But
There
yeah,
you
I'm
go.
looking for those, and your wires coming into your 240 volts appliances as well.
Okay. Now, what about for plumbing? What sort of things are you looking at as it relates to plumbing?
So plumbing, that's a good one because it's a non-invasive inspection. So what that means is I'm going to test to make sure your water is functioning at all spouts. Any handle, any switch for water to turn on and off, I'm testing that. I'm looking under there to see what the drain pipes are made up of, or the intakes as well. And let's see what else.
What about the age on the hot water heater? Are you looking at that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there an age that it fails?
So most insurance companies say 12 years nowadays.
Okay.
They say 12. I mean, they lasted longer. They certainly do. Maintaining them is a big thing. But if it's over 12 years old, a lot of insurance companies, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them will flag that and say you need a new one.
Got it. And then the HVAC. Why does this one even matter on an insurance inspection?
The HVAC,
Yeah.
well, that's actually kind of one of the biggest ones in my opinion. I mean, in Florida, a lot of the handlers are in the attic, and the HVAC provides cool air, and it's in a hot environment. It's going to create the most moisture. So if the insulation isn't right, if the drain pipes are clogged, if your floats aren't working, it will allow moisture, and that's going to create some of the most damage in your home.
That's where they see the leaks that come from the
Yes.
ceiling.
Yeah. So that's big with the age of it, because that also, they have some sort of algorithm to figure out how much maintenance has been done on it.
Yeah.
That the age is really the determining factor for insurance writers.
Great little tip for homeowners. And if you need to get this done, if your insurance company is requiring it, I would highly recommend that you reach out to someone like Eric or an inspector that can do these things. But more importantly, before they wrap up that 4-point inspection, you really want to make sure you handle those things before you give it to your insurance company. So that's going to be really important. I do want to give you our off-air number if you have questions or you'd like a connection to do this or get some of the help cleaning up stuff on the 4-point. Our number is 813-377-2775. That's our off-air number, and you can call or text that number, 813-377-2775. Now, Some of the common issues that we see in new homes. Let's just wrap up our segment here with
Okay.
this. Some of the improper installations. That's a big deal,
Yeah,
right? I
absolutely.
told you we just saw one yesterday where literally brand new home, there's a cracked truss,
Yeah.
which really should have failed the city inspection, and I think
Yeah.
it did.
Seriously. Seriously.
But we talked about this before the show, and it's probably worth elaborating even before we get into this. Why do things like, for example, this is what I try to explain to buyers when they come out to do an inspection on new construction compared to just the stuff that the municipalities are doing, city, county, whoever's doing the inspections for that particular home. It's not as in-depth as you would think. It's pretty basic.
Absolutely. So they're testing for code. Municipalities they're testing for code inspection, and the way I tell people is truthfully and honestly, that's just the bare minimum to get it going and out the door and sold to somebody. Home inspectors are going through to look and inspect everything, so you have a real idea and a scope of what your house is.
More construction defects, not just general.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So whatever happened with that truss, I mean, maybe they just did a generalized inspection and happened to not see that one. I don't really know.
I mean, a lot of these builders, they don't build trusses on site anymore. They bring them in already
Yeah.
fabricated and install them.
Absolutely.
So these big cranes that are bringing in these trusses could have easily have shifted or cracked. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
not
Absolutely. I could see why. I'm not
It's
surprised that
just
something was
wood. These are
broken.
not steel beams.
Yeah, I'm not surprised something broke. I'm just surprised that it was still left there after an inspection.
Yeah.
You know?
So improper installations, what sort of things do you see they're installed incorrectly? What are some of the big ones on new construction that you catch?
Windowsills, that's a huge one. I mean, I see lack of caulking all the time, or sometimes if it's sized improperly, well, has excessive, and when the caulking shrinks up, it's just room for moisture to penetrate. Siding, a lot of it has to do with moisture intrusion. Lack of a building envelope on the siding is a big thing. Yeah, a lot of that. Grading's a big one.
Yeah.
Grading's a big one.
That's the way water flows to your homes. That's
Yes,
important.
absolutely. So
To or away from your home, which is how
it
be.
should flow away. It should grade away from the home. But in a lot of beautiful homes where they'll have like planters right up to the side, a lot of time I'll see grading heading straight to the foundation.
Which
That's
is
the
not
worst.
good. Yeah, that can crack your foundation, create a whole
Yeah, that's
bunch
the
of
worst
issues.
spot. It's called settling. When the water dries up, the earth shrivels up like a dry sponge and it settles underneath the foundation.
Now, what about missing flashing? That's related to the roof system, but that
Yeah.
happens all the time.
All the time. Yeah. All the time. I always see it on there. Homes without gutters. See, gutters aren't actually mandatory. And I actually need to check that out in the 2026 building code. I don't know if that's,
To see if they required it.
I don't know if that's on there. I'll have to look into it. There's a lot that changed.
They
But
should be on there, but I doubt they're on there.
yeah, and a lot of time where those gutters would be, a lot of people, I'll see flashing not there, like from install,
Right.
Now,
what about some of the HVAC deficiencies? What do you see on that as it relates to new construction?
to new construction, HVAC deficiencies, the float's not working. That's a big one.
Okay.
You'll have a brand new system, and obviously it's common these things happen, but in a new construction, they should be testing them and making sure they're working before they sign off on the project. So a lot of time you'll go in there and everything looks good. House is nice and cool, but the floats aren't working.
Slope of those drain lines too. That's one that
Yeah, slope of drain
If it
lines.
slopes the wrong
If they're
way.
not, yeah, just like
Yeah.
the grading, if they're not sloped the right way, it's just going to back up and back into the to the HVAC system.
What about plumbing leaks? We see that, right? Where these fittings are put in, but they're not really flushing all the toilets and turning on the shower. And I mean,
Yeah,
we were seeing showers not.
construction.
Yeah,
for sure.
I saw some where it didn't even come out the shower head because they just didn't plumb it right behind the wall.
You know,
Now you got tile in there, you got to rip out, and they got to fix all that.
yeah, I'll be honest. I love going on TikTok and seeing like the people that do specifically new construction builds and seeing all the crazy stuff they find in like the $2 million homes.
Yeah,
I mean, there's sponges like shoved down in drains, and it's like, well, this isn't draining.
yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah. There's all those crazy little quirky things we see. Electrical concerns. What sort of stuff do you see as it relates to that on new construction?
So new construction, I mean, the biggest thing, and we'll see what happens once 2026, the ninth edition building code rolls out, but it's just arc fault circuit interrupters and ground fault circuit interrupters. I'm just going to say it, spell it out because I can't get the acronym right.
That's okay.
But those, not being in the right area and not being in the panels, that's a big one.
Yeah. And then your building punch list, this is really important too. That's where you're looking for all the little things that you see. It could be a scuff on a cabinet because you're delivering a brand new home to you. And
Yes.
we'll make them clean that up. But a lot of that stuff is super visible. to somebody like me or the buyer.
Absolutely. That's stuff that I look for. Going back, the municipality inspection, they don't really test for that sort of stuff, or inspect, I should say. That's something that a home inspector is going to look for.
Yeah, the things is there anything that comes to mind when you think about things the municipalities miss that you guys catch?
Like what you just said, a lot of the cosmetic stuff, especially on new construction, because if you're buying a new home, it should be in tip top shape.
Yeah.
So a lot of cosmetic stuff, loose toilets, that's kind of a big one.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Brand new.
Yeah. Yeah, brand new toilet, and it's like you could just sit on it and fall off and see yourself in your own home, I guess.
So if you're buying a new home, and I realize that sometimes a lot of these builders, especially the first time home buyer range builders, they're not even offering it for sale until it gets to a certain stage of construction. And I think a lot of this is intentional.
Yeah.
But if you have the opportunity to buy new construction, I'm going to recommend that you get 3 different inspections at 3 different times. And then I'll have you elaborate on that.
Sure.
One of them is going to be your pre-slab construction. Another one is going to be pre-drywall. Before they put up the walls, you want to see behind all that drywall that you can't see once it's up. And then I also recommend that, if you had to only pick 3, I'm going to tell you to get one at your 11 months before your 12-month warranty is up,
Sure.
even though you could get it at the time of the punch list. So you want to elaborate on those? Let's talk about pre-slab inspection.
Sure. So pre-slab inspection is when everything's set up and they're ready to start fabrication or construction. It's inspected at that point. There's a lot of home inspector companies that offer that. That is actually licensed through a different industry. So not everybody does. I actually don't have a pre-slab right now. It's a certification I'm working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is a good
But
one to get.
and I always tell people if you're looking into my new construction inspections, you're definitely going to need to get that done. I mean, they mandate that you do it through that it's done. You could do it through the county, or you could find someone qualified.
Yeah. Well, rarely do you even have the opportunity to do a pre-slab inspection.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah.
If you're doing a custom build, you could definitely do that.
Yeah.
What about pre-drywall? That's a big one because you can see a lot of stuff.
A
before the walls
pre-drywall
are
is
up.
huge. That's usually where I first come in. So in any home, old or new, when I do an inspection, it's non-invasive. And what that means is I don't pull out drywall to look behind to check the stud
You
spacing.
can't tear stuff off to do an inspection.
Yeah. I'm not going to tear up the house to see that if it's a good quality house. But in a new construction, I can. I go in before the drywall's there, and we can check the spacing, the attachments, what kind of bolts they're using. I can measure where the sill heights are, see where the electrical wires are ran through, all that stuff. So pre-drywall is huge for a new
You
construction.
can see all the electrical and stuff too. Like you can
Yes.
see, when those are attached to the wood framing. Are there staples or anything run through the electrical? Just
Yeah,
silly
is
stuff
it
like
right?
that.
Is a staple overdriven? Did they just
Yeah.
go straight through the conduit?
Yeah, those are all really big things. How it's attached, the blue boxes that hold in the electrical, all
Yep.
those things are important. And then what about the 1-year builder warranty? What are some little things you see? Like cracked tiles almost always in.
So that's a huge one, because everything we just listed is a huge scope of work. I mean, when a house is built, there's a lot of different contractors and specialized fields. Doing these inspections, you're kind of looking over all those things, and things can be missed or things were down before 11 months.
Right.
So that's why it's great to have the warranty inspection before your warranty goes up.
Tell people your home is settling, right? Once you move in people and furniture and cars in the garage,
Yep.
your house is going to settle in. So
Yeah.
you'll see some little things that will shift after.
Yeah, you might see some things. You might notice the countertop seems to be a little wobbly. Islands, for example, you might notice that seems to be a little rocky. Nail pops, that's huge in the ceiling. Walking around, especially like in a 2-story home, if you look up at that ceiling on the first floor, after 11 months, you might notice, hey, I didn't notice that nail was there before.
Little things too, like the islands a lot of times, or the slabs aren't level.
Yeah.
So if you're washing dishes, you're not going to notice that until you wash it and the water starts running the wrong way.
Yeah,
On
the
the slab,
things
you gotta
that
take
stick
the
out to
level.
you, that matter the most to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Those kind of things are really, really important. So, whether your home was built in 1926 or 2026, knowledge really protects one of your biggest investments that you'll have, and that's home ownership. So the difference between a renter and a homeowner, the net worth is significant. A lot of that is built around home ownership and equity that you acquire over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So any final thoughts on this before we wrap up the show? Because it's been a great little tidbit, and there's so many little
Yeah.
things you see that we're probably not thinking about right now
Yeah,
And there's so many things you look for that the layperson either can't, doesn't, not educated. Let's face it, most of the time we're just not, we're ignorant to this. We're not aware of
absolutely.
what items to look for.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing with home inspections is people just don't know what to look for. I know when I would first became a homeowner before I was doing inspections, I didn't know what to look for.
What made you want to get into this line of work? Why did you choose home?
So actually, the truth is, at first, I had a job offer to me. It landed in my lap, and then when I started learning it, and because I had to pass courses and get
Mhm.
certified with the state, it just felt very valuable to me. It felt good that I could help people and walk new homeowners through, and just help people that were in my position with where I am now, instill the confidence and knowledge in them. Because your house is not just a big investment; it's a huge investment, but it's like an extended part of the family. When your kids get sick, you have to take care of them. When your house gets sick, you have to take care of it.
Yeah. Little things become big things if you don't
Yes,
take care of them. So it's one of the things we say
absolutely.
regularly.
Yeah,
Well, I'm Katrina Madewell. I'm here in the studio today with Eric George with Bay Life Home Inspections. It's been a pleasure to have you on Tampa Home Talk today.
absolutely. Thanks for talking to me.
If you'd like to get in touch, I'll give you our author number. You're welcome to call or text, and we're happy to get you connected. Even if you've been in your home for a while, if you've not done a regular inspection, at least every 5 years, would highly encourage you to do this. There's a lot of things you're probably not looking at or you can't see. Get a thorough inspection. It'll save you time and a lot of money later with those regular homeowner maintenance. 813-377-2775. 813-377-2775. I'm Katrina Madewell, and you're listening to Tampa Home Talk. Love where you live, or we're going to fix it. Welcome home.